I'm about 99% sure what the result of this investigation is going to turn up. I think it's probably already been written. They are going to allege that the U.S. Navy is undermanned and overextended, and retraining is needed in some areas, but we need to withdraw from certain areas and stand down certain operations in order to assure the safety and well-being of our sailors. Translation meaning we are going to be withdrawing from Asia. This started with the TPP, and one of the more disappointing things about the issue with the Fitzgerald, and I don't mean this in a flippant way, the issue with the Fitzgerald is a tragic situation. It's not disappointing. 7 men lost their lives, 10 more on the John McCain. When I say disappointing, what I mean is the coverage of it. When I first started talking about the Fitzgerald, there was a major news radio guy, Savage, that had started talking about it as well. And I thought, okay, well, wonderful. I hope this guy, picks up the ball, starts running with it, and people start looking into it. Unfortunately, his investigation into it stopped when he got to his point, which his entire point of looking into it all was just to continue to beat Barack Obama over the head. Because that was the last thing that he said in the last video that he made, was that this is all Barack Obama's fault. And that's all he wanted to say. He wanted to go through, an hour's worth of diatribe about the issue with the USS Fitzgerald just so he could say that. And that was his whole intent. And I've seen that actually here at the channel too. And a lot of people come here and I try to explain what's going on. They immediately go to, well, that's what you get with Obama. I mean, I was no giant fan of Barack Obama, but like I said, in the military, nobody gets up in the morning and decides whether they are or are not going to do their job based on who is in the Oval Office. It just doesn't work that way. So, with the issue with the TPP and looking at this and seeing how fast the Navy is willing to blame itself, a little bit slower with the Fitzgerald, almost immediately with the McCain, not wanting to even begin to entertain anything that might require thought. Their first knee-jerk reaction is to just contemplate, I hate to say it, contemplate their navels because it sounds like a pun, but it's what they're doing. They won't even consider the fact that there might be something else going on, and if they are doing it behind the scenes, but they're going to use this as an excuse to withdraw from Asia. There is too many other things going on, and you can read through this, politicians speak of all this, and basically in here you can see that they've already made up their mind. That this is something where it's a big bad military issue and we shouldn't be there anyway, and we need to focus closer to home, and that's just going to be how there's going to be no report that comes out that is going to attempt to in any way, shape, or form indict the behavior of either crew of the Crystal or the Alnick at all. Now, the issue with the Champlain and the Antietam, notice nobody really knew about that until the issue with the Fitzgerald and the McCain. You had those two issues, and I don't remember there even being a, page 3 story about either one of them. You'd have had to have been following the Navy to know about it. Now, given, maybe a fair assessment there is that nobody died in those situations, but it's still fairly serious when ships lose control of where they are. And a lot of people didn't even know about MCM-5, which we covered 5 or 6 videos ago, that there was a ship that had grounded itself in Tupataha Reef and had gone to guns to keep Philippine Marines off, or Philippine Rangers off the boat. So you'd have to ask yourself, why were they so worried about, an ally's Rangers being on the boat? So anyway, this came out as well very, very recently, and you can look through this and see a lot of different things, but there is a section here about the Chinese use of mines in modern naval mine warfare that really strikes close to home when you think about the Fitzgerald and the McCain. I'm not sure I want to go through all of it in this video. I don't want to make this video too long. But this is USNI. I've recommended it before. Fantastic source of information. They do a really, really good job on keeping you up to date with what's going on. A lot of you out there have mentioned the idea of the electronic chips being made in China and China having access to them and hacking them. And then there's this. And who wants to bet me $1 to a donut he approves this to try to get some kind of favor with China regarding North Korea? Anybody? Nah, I don't think so. He's going to let this go through. Guarantee it. He is not going to block this at all. And this is exactly what China wanted. I mean, this is where this all started. And I'm not going to use this channel anymore to do the whole political thing. It's just, there is a reason, and I can't quite put my finger on it yet, why this particular administrator wants to be out of Asia. There's a lot of people that backed him were these types that were nationalists. They didn't want to see the U.S. involved as much in other regions, and I can kind of agree with that to a certain extent, but you have to wonder what the folks in Japan and South Korea and some in the Philippines are thinking when they see the U.S. starting to, markedly pull back from the region. We're not doing anything about North Korea's missiles at all. We're doing nothing about their nuclear tests at all. We're not doing anything about what China is doing. We haven't even addressed the issues of the renminbi. It is, from their perspective, when they look at what their future is going to be 20 or 25 years from now, do you think they're really going to see the U.S. as a partner? I don't know. I don't think that would be how they would perceive what's going on. And it's probably going to be a very tough thing for them, because our country lurches from one side of the political spectrum to the other every 8 years. Who would want that as an ally? I mean, you wouldn't definitely want that in a relationship of any kind, whether personal or professional or any other way. So how exactly are they going to, when they see the constant steady eddy from China? There's the old proverb, better the devil you know. And if there were to ever be any switch in allegiances or alliances over there, the South Koreans and the Japanese have a lot of very damaging intelligence that could hurt the U.S. badly. Losing them as an ally, or even partially losing them as an ally, would be very, very dangerous. And it would leave a certain part of the world up for complete takeover. There was the Imperial Japanese Empire at one time that came very, very close to controlling all of China and all of Asia, all the way out to Hawaii, and that was World War II. And it was, touch and go there for a long time. They kind of blew it when they missed all of our carriers and left our battleships sunk in shallow water that could be raised. And then they lost a whole bunch of carriers in one battle. Other than that, it was going to be rough. But I'm sure there's a lot of folks in my audience that can probably enlighten you a lot more to what went on in World War II. But we're getting close to 10 minutes here in the cutoff time. But the Pope is going to be making a trip to to Colombia very quickly, and there's some issues going on down there that are a little bit disturbing. I don't want to make any predictions, but I'm not sure if he's as safe there as he might think, especially with the Syrian Druze right next door. I think that's going to be the subject of our next video. But a great read if you want to. Also, U.S. Naval Institute, Mine and Undersea Warfare for the Future. Down here in this article, there is a section called Target of Interest. I'm just going to read this as we leave the video here. It talks about this high-tech mine system that's basically just a torpedo that gets launched and sets down there with a bunch of smaller torpedoes on it. And this is how they describe it. The distributed sensor nodes await a target of interest across the mine line and signal the weapon node to shoot one of its torpedoes at the transiting ship. The explosion rocks the vessel, and water pours into the sinking ship as she goes dead in the water and lists to one side. Damage control efforts may have saved the ship from sinking, but it will be out of commission for an extended period. The UUV confirms the mission kill and reports its first catch of the day to command. Traffic at the port stops, and the UUV awaits further instructions for the AUWS. That really sounds a whole lot like a very recent issue. And this is an article from 2014 in USNI. So, I don't know, folks. Maybe they hacked one of our systems that we were testing. You know, but that's something else for another day. So, just something to think about. Thank you, everyone, for the support. I really appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thank you.